Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host and presenter, Advocate Tudoyani. You remember I promised one episode, but sometimes circumstances are such that you have to respond to situations. News sometimes has to be fresh news. So I've just decided to come up with this episode to give you an update of what happened in the Bloemfontein High Court this morning. So the case of Thabo Bester and Magudumana has been postponed to July. This is to allow the process in the Supreme Court of Appeal to run its course. You'll recall that Magudumana has appealed the decision of the High Court against her. The decision being that, she had been properly brought to South Africa from Tanzania, and that she was not abducted from Tanzania, and that she had been, properly extradited to South Africa. She then lodged an appeal before the Supreme Court of Appeal here in Bloemfontein also. And because that matter has not been finalized, that matter had to be postponed to July. Now let us look briefly at the issues that form the subject matter of that appeal before the Supreme Court of Appeal. Magudumana argues that she was brought to South Africa unlawfully and that her constitutional rights were violated. On the other hand, the state maintains that this was a proper extradition process and that there was nothing untoward about it and that she is properly before a South African court of law. Now, extradition is a different process, of course, from an abduction. If a fugitive runs away from justice in South Africa, the proper, the proper procedure is by way of extradition proceedings. So she's challenging that extradition, and pending the finalization of that matter pending the finalization of the application before the Supreme Court of Appeal, this matter cannot go ahead. This is because, the decision of the Supreme Court might well say, well, she was improperly brought to South Africa, that her arrest was unlawful, and that therefore she's entitled to a release. That might well be the decision of the Supreme Court of Appeal. But nobody is preempting what the SCA will do or say. So in the interim, the matter stands postponed. Now let me just give you a taste of, my own views on that outcome. Well, if the Supreme Court of Appeal says she was brought properly to South Africa, the process will be simple enough. The trial will simply go ahead and that will be the end of the matter. But let us look at another possible scenario. Another possible scenario is, let us say the Supreme Court of Appeal says, she was improperly brought to South Africa, that her constitutional rights were violated, and that the arrest itself was improperly done and she's improperly before a South African court. That would mean her release. But picture this scenario. What then happens after she's been released? Say she's released, this would be a Pyrrhic victory. It would take her nowhere at all, I maintain. Because once she's released in Bloemfontein, right in front of the South African Police Services, who will just simply pick her up and get her under arrest. And that arrest will then be a proper arrest. So I think this is just an academic exercise on the part of Magudumana's lawyers. It will not yield any benefit from her. Because like I'm saying, should she win the case, she can get immediately arrested. So that the application, if it works out in her favor, it is of no consequence at all. It's of no consequence at all. So that I believe that in a sense it is regrettable that the trial has to drag on and on and on and on. Because there's a huge concern in this country about the pace at which the wheels of justice turn. Now we are going to July. Look, it's only February now, right? And one would have expected that the Supreme Court of Appeal itself would have been sensitive to the fact that there is a criminal trial pending in the High Court, and then they would expedite this application, such that by today, because the Supreme Court of Appeal was aware that this matter would be heard, today. So my feeling is, had they been sensitive to that, they should have expedited the matter last year, or at least early this year, to ensure that come the 10th of February, the criminal matter in the High Court can proceed. But courts sometimes act in silos, They act in silos. That the Supreme Court, I don't know whether they're not aware about what is going on in the criminal trial, or whether the Supreme Court has got its own, is burdened by its own court role. I really don't know. But all I'm trying to say is, even if Nandipha Magudumana succeeds in that application, it will be of no consequence. And in my view, it would simply just have been a waste of time, because she'll be rearrested. What do you think? Let me know about your comments in the comment section. Having said that, let me thank you for the views that I'm seeing. Let me thank you for the subscriptions that I'm seeing. I will always bring you an extra edition if the need arises, because sometimes, circumstances dictate that you come up with an edition like this. And in the interest of keeping my viewers updated about the latest developments in and around, topical issues in South Africa, I'll do so like I'm doing now. So having said that, please have a nice day, and thank you very much.